everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. And for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Amy Gretchen and a really big welcome. Thank you for hopping in. So I'm doing things a little bit differently today and I'm wanting to do a face-to-face conversation. Well, I wish it could be face-to-face or video to video conversation with you guys about where I am at right now with my YouTube channel and my creativity in general. This is something that I've been thinking about for several months. And so, as we are entering into 2023, it just felt like the best time to hop on here and kind of explain where I'm at and where I want to go with this channel. So this channel has been such a fun thing for me to do, and it's primarily been something that I've done in scrapbooking. I've shared a lot of my project life and some paper crafting stuff. There's on occasion I have done cards. I haven't done that in a long time, but at the beginning, I feel like that was something that I was doing. But one of the things that I really want to do in 2023, because I am just generally a very creative person and I want to be able to share so many different avenues of my creativity and just really the things that I am interested in at the time, because I feel like, people talk about the strengths that they have. And I feel like one of my strengths is to learn. I actually really love to learn. And I feel like I really learn quickly. That doesn't mean I master something, but I really do love to learn. I really wanted to figure out how to do jewelry several years ago, or like stamping onto jewelry. And I did it, but that didn't mean I wanted to become a jewelry maker. I just wanted to make a few pieces, maybe a few gifts. And I did it one year for my nieces and nephews for Christmas. So there's just a lot of different things that I want to continue to explore and to be able to share on this channel. So one of the things you're going to see in 2023 is me really expanding what I'm sharing on my channel. And I know I've shared this in the past, and for whatever reason, it just has not happened. I just have not, made it happen where I've shared some extra things that I love to do, but I am committed to doing that in 2023. Although I love scrapbooking and I am going to continue to scrapbook, probably less than I have before, but I have a lot of project life still to do from previous years. I think 2018, 2019, plus 2021, 22, those years still have things that I need to fill in. So number one, you are still going to see scrapbooking from me. I'm going to continue with project life this year. I will definitely, I have to admit, I'm not sure about Week in the Life. I'm not sure about even December Daily next year, although I would really like to do it. It's a project that I love. It's something that I'm right now working on. I think it's the 30th of December, so it's just almost to the new year. But I will see as the year progresses in what ways I want to document. My life has really slowed down. One of the things that really propelled me to do scrapbooking was my children and our life together, and it's just slowed way down. So I don't feel like I have as much content. And so my project life will probably be a little bit smaller, but I do still love documenting and I do still see the value of telling stories in our own lives, but it may not be in the same creative way. It may be in my journal. And I know that I have shared that with you guys, my Hobonichi and how I do memory keeping in my Hobonichi. So that leads me to another question. And I do apologize if I hop around in this video. This isn't something that I sat down and planned and did a plan for, an outline. That's the word I was going for. It was just let's hop on here and talk about, the things that I want to do for 2023. So if there is anything you guys would like to see from me and want a little bit more of, I would love to hear that from you in the comment section below. And the reason why I say that now is because I really wanted to share my memory keeping on my Hobonichi, which is why I had that. I have several videos on my channel with my Hobonichi. I just wasn't 100% sure how to share it because it felt like the same thing over and over again. It felt like I was doing more writing and less, maybe adding stickers or things like that, that it didn't feel like, do people really want to see what my journal looks like? Plus it was pretty personal, right? And so there were some things I was probably going to have to blur out. But I would be really interested if you guys would like to see more of how I use my I guess my memory keeping Hobonichi, because that's what it is. It's just another way for me to document my life. And I see that is where I'm going to go in the future, is probably just keep a journal. And at times I can decorate it with just my handwriting or with stickers or with stamps. But that might be where I'm headed to. But this year in 2023, I am still going to be doing my project life. So I do have the first page to show you guys today. So this is going to be the opener for 2023. I actually used Ali Edwards' the story kit, the January Stories by the Month kit, which was really great. She is offering, here, let me pull this back a little bit. She's offering some, I guess the cards are a little bit less, but she's got some paper in there as well. And I just think this is a really fun kit. I really loved playing with this. As always, I love to include pictures. Sorry, I'm looking at myself on my screen, so I didn't realize I was opposite. But I've got pictures here of, you know, everyone in my family, and then you can see that I have some blank spots that I need to still fill in, and I will do that. I'm thinking about my word for the year, so that will probably be in one of these spots. So I'm thinking about the things that I want to say as I'm entering into 2023. So I'm definitely going to continue scrapbooking. I know that a lot of you guys are here for scrapbooking. I also want to share more card making. So I have always loved making cards, sending cards. Years ago, I was in this card group with my sister-in-law, and we would make cards for one another. Like, we would do a design and make like 9 of them or something, and then we would pass them out, and then we'd all leave with like 9 new cards that we could send out to our friends. And it was so fun because we were doing close to my heart or stamping up parties, and we would get all the stamps and all this stuff, right? So I really fell in love with card making then, and I really kind of was inspired. My sister-in-law has always been really great at sending thank you cards. And so I was very inspired by that and just wanting to send cards to people. And I think there's something so fun about making a creation and then sending it off to someone. I think it means so much more to the giver, but also to the receiver as well. So anyway, I've always made cards. I don't always share them on here. There's one thing I will say about YouTube. Sometimes it's really nice to just create something and not have to edit the video, do all the photos for it, and, you know, post it and all that stuff. Sometimes it's just nice to create something just to create something. And card making has been that for me. I feel like it's just something that I will quickly do, I'll put together, and be able to send it off to someone I love, right? So I don't necessarily send or share a lot of that, but I want to maybe share the cards that I do make. And that is probably what I will do for paper crafting. I don't think I'll do anything more than that, but you never know. Like, the thing that I love so much about the card community or the card making community is they have the die cuts and they have all the stamps, and I feel like they have like all the stencils and all the stuff that I really am missing in the scrapbooking world. And so I do use a lot of that stuff in my scrapbooking. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to go small with my December daily. This is my December daily right now. You can see that I have changed my cover. Sorry, if I'm looking down, it's because I'm making sure that this is on screen. This is something that I made at the same time that I made the green one. And I was debating about whether I wanted to go green or red. I can't decide. I might just go back to green once I am finished with this, but we'll see. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't figured that out, but I am actually in case you guys are interested, I am actually to day 20. So I'm up to day 20. I know what I'm going to do for the remainder. In fact, I feel like I was going to do something different for day 23. But I saw this card here, and I'll just share this now. I saw this card here that says all I need, and one of the things is a nap. And honestly, on December 23rd, well, probably the 24th and 25th too, but on the 23rd, after everything, and you feel like you're just doing everything to get ready for the holiday, I needed a nap. I think this is going to be day 23. It might have some journaling on the back that says all the things that I was doing that very last day, but I really love this. I was going to do something else. I think it's going to be this. And that's what I love so much about these projects is it can be this simple. Just a card, put a 23 on it, we're good to go. So anyway, that is my plans for paper crafting. If you know me, then you know I'm a big planner. So I am going to continue to plan. This is the planner, or excuse me, the bullet journal that I have used the last, did I start this in 21? I think I used it in 21. I started in 21 and then used it in 23. But you guys can see like, these are some of my sketch marks. Like, it's so funny, like this is how it started, right? It started off like this, look like how precise this is, right? It's so pretty. I don't know if that it's pretty, but like there's some organization to it, okay? This is where we're at right now. It's just like chicken scratch all over the place. I would literally just grab a page and start writing down notes, start writing down ideas, and it's like I don't even know how I can go back and find my ideas, you know, but I need to make sure that I'm getting it out of my head and onto my paper. And I also do a lot of doodling, but that's kind of what I want my book to look like. I want it to look crazy like this, even though I want it to look beautiful too. So it just, I don't know, it goes both ways. So I've really enjoyed this, I have to admit, and the pages are a little bit thicker, and I actually do enjoy that. So I did have a panic the other day when I was thinking about going to the Common Planner, because this is what I'm going to be using for my work purposes. I will continue to do my Hobonichi, like I said earlier, for my planning / memory keeping in my personal life. But I'm going to be using the Common Planner. If you want to see more about this, I do have a couple videos showing you and talking you through how I'm going to use it this year. But it will just be really nice to have these pages for like content creating, especially as I'm talking to you guys about all these new things that I want to share on my channel. So I'm definitely going to be using this for work-related stuff and just for planning out my YouTube. If that is something that you guys would want to see and hear more about as I do it this year, please let me know with any of the things that I'm sharing. If you want to know more, or if you like have an idea of something like, could you share this? I would love to learn this, because you guys, I really love learning stuff. I really, really do. All right, so let's move away from the paper crafting and let's talk a little bit about the fiber arts. So I would say probably I did scrapbook when I was younger, and I have shared some of my very early scrapbooks that I did when I was, I don't know, junior high, high school, early college, that you guys can totally check out. It's so fun to see those like very first pages. So I guess I did do that, but I also have really loved fiber arts. So my mom was a big, she did cross stitch when I was a kid. She also did punch board, is that what it's called? I always forget, with the yarn. And I really loved it. I was always really intrigued by it as a kid. And so I remember when Adam and I first met one another that I injured my foot. I sprained my ankle. We were rollerblading and I was trying to be really, really cool. And then I ended up rolling my ankle. I think it was like our second date or something like that. And one of the first things I did after realizing I am not going to be able to move from my spot on the couch for a few days was go to Michael's or Robert's Craft, I think is what was around at the time, and getting a pattern for cross stitch and working on the cross stitch. I've actually got to go look through some of my older boxes to see if I could still find this, because I remember it was a cross stitch of like a house with like flowers, and it's not something that I'm really interested in today. Like the design is not something I'm interested in, but it would have been so fun if I had gotten a little bit farther into that project or even finished that today, because I feel like it's a really good memory for Adam and I, because I did that, you know, after injuring myself together. So I've always been interested in cross stitch, and it was last year, and I believe it was Elise Joy that inspired me to dust off my needles again and get me cross stitching. So she had these really cute cute on the shelf patterns. I can't remember exactly what she called them. I did the Christmas one, and when I was done with the Christmas one, I was like, oh my gosh, I need another project. And in fact, the next project I worked on, I'm wondering if it's right here. Let me see if I can grab it. Because I was thinking this was going to go in my December daily in 2021, but then I ended up doing the nativity that I put in it. This one, I did this one on paper, and I really love this one. This one was pretty intense. It actually took a lot of time. You can see that it's on paper because I was thinking of adding it to my album, and that was before I decided to do the smaller album. Now, this actually would fit in my album right now. It would just have to go sideways, and I was thinking of including it this year, and maybe I will, just so it doesn't get lost and it will be somewhere. But even though it's on paper, I really love this. I could just even frame this and put this out during Christmas time, but I really love this. Like I said, I thought it turned out really great. I can't remember the designer offhand, but I did get it on Etsy, so I will link it below. It was just really fun. It did take a lot of time, but it was really fun to do. And it was really fun to do on paper as well. And I've often thought about doing it again on fiber, but I could actually, like I said, put that in my December daily or frame it, and then I could have it out every single year. So that was the next thing that I did that I was really excited to do. And then I did the nativity, and then I was like, I want a big project, and I ended up really loving the flowers that Elise Joy did. So I did that project as well, and kind of did similar, sorry, you're getting all of the lights in here, but I did similar colors that she did. It was so fun. I did frame this, not really good. I didn't like really stretch the fabric or anything, so I need to redo this and get it hung up. But I finished that. I started that in January of last year, and I finished mid-year. It took me more time just because we ended up moving, and I took a break from it for a long time, but I really loved stitching. It was very calming. It was very soothing. I loved it. So then I was like, I'm all in. So by the summer, I really just started diving into the community. I started watching floss tubes, which I didn't even know was a thing. I started watching floss tubes. I started looking at all these new designers. The community is huge. It's a wonderful community. And like, I feel like I'm in love. So I've probably bought 10 to 15 new patterns. And like I said, I'm just in love with the community, and I'm loved what I have learned since I started diving in. So there's going to be a lot of stitching for me in 2023. I have a lot of plans. I wanted to just show you a couple things that I'm working on right now. And as I'm talking about this, I was considering doing some floss tubes that were just designated to stitching. And I may do that, but I was actually thinking that one of the things that I would do instead of a floss tube, that I would do kind of a craft tube. And once a month, I would show you where I'm at with the projects that I'm working at, especially because something like cross stitch it's like not something that you would share all the time on your YouTube, like, let's watch me stitch. You know what I mean? It's kind of a slow burn, and it's not something that I would necessarily do on camera, although I could see myself stitching and answering questions. I would like to do a Q&A. So of course you can ask me questions down below and I will save them, but in 2023, I would like to do a Q&A with all of you. But back to the floss tube. So I was thinking about maybe just doing a floss tube so I could share all the like stitching, all the fiber related arts that I'm doing. But then I was like, maybe I should just do like a craft tube where it's kind of a roundup, where once a month I'm basically sharing with you what I'm working on and the progress that I've made. And I think it will really help me be accountable. It's super easy to start a project and set it down and then forget about it. So I think it will really help me be accountable for the things that I'm working on so I can actually get those finished. All right, so this project I'm really excited about. I don't even want to say it because it's in French and I have no idea how to pronounce any French words at all. I'm a little okay with Spanish because I've been trying to learn Spanish, but my accent's really bad. In fact, Adam speaks Spanish and he's like, oh, you are such an American. And I am, and I'm not around a lot of Spanish speakers, so I don't know the accent right. So I do not want to butcher this. But anyway, it's a Jardin Privé, and I'm probably saying that wrong. And this one is the Quaker Spring. So I'm just going to say it's Quaker and it's spring. I will have these linked below. I really love the website that I'm not sure if you can, I think you can buy the paper, but I bought the PDFs, like just print it out. I really love that because I actually like to mark off what I've done, like as I'm working, I like to mark it off. So then I also have this one is the summer one. And then this one is the autumn, and I do have the winter. I don't have it printed out yet, but it just came out December 21st. So I just bought it. Anyway, you could do these individually if you wanted, but I really love how they have it here. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to do 4 of them all together, and I already know where I'm going to hang it up. You guys, look at my nails. I did this last night for the new year. I was really inspired by Kathy Zilski last year, and I'm like, I'm doing it. Anyway, I'm super excited about that. Speaking of which, I have these on my desk. I'll just tell you what it is. Like I said, I'm going to hop around, right? So this is CCT from Olive and June. And then this is their, I think it's Obvi. Yeah, Obvi, which is such a cute name. Anyway, that's how I did it. So thank you, Kathy, for your inspiration. Anyway, so I have 4 of these. I'm going to be doing all 4. I'm going to show you where I'm at right now. I started working on this probably in, oh dear. That is just a string hanging off. When did I start doing this? I probably started this in November. And I should have something to back this. All right, so I have this really big whiteboard, but I just want to be able to have it there so I can show you. So this is what I have so far. I love it. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can get this on screen. Having to think backwards. I really love it. The green I'm using is Pine Needle from Colorworks. What is it? Just give me a sec. So you guys, I love it so much. It makes me so happy to work on. I can't even tell you how much I am in love with cross stitch right now. I am in love with it so much. You can probably, sorry, scooting in. You can probably see it in my face, but I am using, I don't even have the information to tell you what I'm using. I can't remember. This is pine needles. This is the green. Like I said, it's classic Colorworks pine needles. And it is, I love that it's just one color. So far, I've used an entire one of these, and I think this one, I will be able to do the rest of it. So far, I only think I need 2. And if you're using DMC floss, DMC, I think, has a little bit more, so you might get a little bit farther with the DMC floss. I know I have it written down somewhere. I'll have it linked below, the fabric that I'm using. It is a creamy fabric. I love it so much. It's 36 count. I have not done a 36 count linen before, and it's with 1 thread. And you guys, that is actually, you can kind of see that it's a little bit lacy, but that's like my special combination. I've decided this is what I love. I love 36 count. Maybe I want to try 40, and I really love doing 1 thread. 2 thread, I feel like I don't look as clean. I love doing 1 thread. So that is where I'm at with this project. So this one I'm going to work on throughout the year. So I'm hoping to get the spring done before March, and I totally will because I love working on it. Then I'll begin the next one. Another project that I literally just started the other day, and I do have a couple other ones going, and I know that in January I'm going to start the Tiny Town Love one. So it's kind of Valentine-y, but I will show you that a little bit later. But this is one that I've been wanting to start all December, and I literally just started the other day. It's called Jack Frost Tree Farm from Little House Needleworks. I do love their patterns. It's been so interesting for me to figure out what kind of designs I really love. You know, I do love stuff like this that's very clean and very clean, very graphic. I love that. But I'm also really loving like all this Quaker stuff, and then all this really fun, like you can just see how whimsy and fun that is. And I actually didn't think that I would like it, but I do. Like there is a fun, whimsy girl inside of me, and I really am enjoying it. So let me show you what I've done on this. And I'm using the called for colors. And for those of you that doesn't know what that means the colors that the designer has on their pattern. That's what I'm using. So this is, am I on the right side? Yeah, this is what I've done so far. So I'm just working on the pattern, and this right here is, I think, the top of the house, whatever that was, the tree farm, just the top of that building right there. So anyway, I'm excited about this. So I obviously don't have, this can be, I want to have this done and framed by next Christmas. So that is my goal. I'm sure that I will. Again, it's really fun. This actually has 7 patterns in it. So it's got this long one, and then it's got 3, sorry, I'm trying to figure this out backwards. 3 small patterns, 1, 2, 3, and then another 3. So 6 small squares to go under this big long one. And I might change where it says Jack Frost. There's a tree farm that we go to every year that we've been going to since my kids were very little. It's called Cummings. And they actually have a sign kind of like this, with lights, of course. So I might change Jack Frost to Cummings if I can fit it in. I'm going to see if I can fit it in. In case you're wondering, I am using Legacy Linen. This is 35 count. Dyed champagne is what it looks like. So, and I actually bought this from Shepherd's Bush, which is such a fun cross stitch store up in Ogden, which is probably like 40 minutes away from me. But I was, you know, like, you have to go on some of these field trips, right? Anyway, so this is what I am working on right now in my cross stitch. I would love to share little bits of this as I go along, but I will probably share progress with this if I either do a floss tube or if I do a craft tube. So I'm really loving the idea of doing a craft tube and just kind of doing all of them at once. And then if you only are here for the scrapbooking, then you can just stay for the scrapbooking and for the card making or whatever. And if you want to see all the things I'm doing, you can watch the whole video. So I plan on having like timestamps and all that stuff to share with you guys. So the other thing that I'm doing with Fiberworks, and I will say I have always, I mean, I think I'm saying this with everything, but I've always really loved knitting. So my grandmother that I'm named after, so Amy Gretchen, for those of you who don't know, Gretchen is my middle name, and that's my grandmother's name. I never met her. She passed away before I was born, but she was a knitter, and she always would knit these beautiful sweaters. And I actually stole this sweater from my dad that my grandma knit, but it's really, really beautiful. And so I always wanted to be a knitter because I always wanted to have something in common with her. And so I started knitting a long time ago, and I actually made some sweaters for my kids. And in fact, I should look for a photo that I have of this sweater that I made for my daughter Bella, because it's really cozy and chunky, and it was one of like the first sweaters that I made. But I have a ton of unfinished projects that I was like, well, I'll finish that and give it to my grandkids. So I just keep crossing my fingers that I have enough skeins to get the sweater done. I have this really cute merino wool sweater that I started ages ago. It was for Megan when she was 2 and she's 18. So, you know, I started it probably 19 years ago. Oh, I did the math wrong. 17 years ago. Anyway, so there is this girl that I found on the floss tube. Her name is, I think it's Stitch MD or MD Stitch or something like that. I can't even remember what her name is. But she is the one that actually got me really interested in like kind of the Quaker patterns, which is what that Jardin Privé pattern was that I showed you guys. But she knits also. So a lot of times cross stitchers will do other things. I'm trying to think, mostly they share quilting. A lot of people that cross stitch quilt. That's probably not something that I will do, although I do like to sew, and I have made several like costumes, and I've even made myself a dress and stuff like that. But I am not drawn to, I feel like, here's the thing about sewing. I feel like I make mistakes with every projects that I make, and I make mistakes with paper crafting. It's really easy to just rip apart, start over. It's very small. When you make a mistake stitching, it's, oh my gosh, it's like, it takes so much time, right? It takes so much time to like redo it. And anyway, so sometimes I get discouraged with sewing, which is why I haven't done it in a long time. But that I do sew and have enjoyed sewing. I've never made a quilt. I've started one. No, that's not true. I did make a quilt for Adam and I for our bed one year, but I haven't made another quilt. So maybe in my future, I don't know. Definitely not for 2023, but at any rate, I digress. A lot of floss tubers quilt and also cross stitch. This cross stitcher, Stitch MD or Stitchy MD or something like that, she knit, and I was like, you know what? I want to do another project. So she totally inspired me to go get my bin of needles and crack them out. Go get my bin of needles and make a sweater. So I have a friend who's making this sweater, and I think it's called Homebody, and I will have it linked below. But I have a friend who's been working on this, and I texted her. I was like, can you just give me your sweater? It's a fun, plain sweater. And I've never done a sweater. Every sweater that I've done has been pieces that you sew together later. But this pattern that she did was like from the top down and just with like circular needles. And I was like, I would really love to try that. So I actually had to really think hard about what the pattern was telling me to do on some of these things. But I do have experience with knitting, so it's not like I'm a newbie, but I feel like I was a newbie from starting from the top down. So anyway, this is the sweater that I have been working on. You guys, I love this so much. You can see that I've gotten to the bottom where now I'm doing the bottom part, whatever you call this. I have no idea what you call this. So I'm almost done. I think I've got, oh gosh, I should probably measure this because it's supposed to be about 2.5 inches. So I'm actually just about there where I will bind off and then I will do the sleeves. So the sleeves are next. I am a little bit nervous about doing these sleeves because of this area right here. I'm not sure how to pick up the stitches here. I haven't done that. I mean, I could figure it out, but I don't want it to look like there's holes. So, but that's where I'm at. So I'm probably going to bind off, I would say, in the next day, because that's about 2.5 inches, right? I need to figure out like how long I want it to be. And I think it actually fits pretty good. I don't know if this is going to fit, honestly. I did the swatch like I was supposed to do, and I think I figured out the right stuff, or figured out the right needle and things to use. But anyway, I'm super excited about it, you guys, because I've never actually had a sweater that I've completed that I've worn myself. I've made, like I said, I've made some for my children. So let me just tell you what I'm using. It's called Sandbank. It's 131 Sandbank. And I'll just show you. It's Rios, and I'm trying to think I don't want to say this wrong. Malabrigo? Is that what it is? That's the brand. That's the brand. There we go. I can get it, you guys. And Rios is, I think, the thickness. It's a worsted yarn, and it is called Sandbank. Like I said, I'll have all this stuff linked below, but this is my third skein. And what's really cool, I'm trying to think of where I bought this. I will have it linked in the store that I bought it from. I think it was wool and something. I can't now remember. But you have the option for them to wind it up for you if you don't want to take the time or if you don't have a machine. So I had them do it, and it was for free. So that's awesome. And I do cross stitch, you guys. I have this cross stitch needle in there in case I make a mistake, which I have found a couple mistakes that I've had to go back and fix. So I actually do have a cross stitch, and oh my gosh, you guys, I made the cutest. Okay, I'm gonna go back and tell you this story. So I'm so sorry. This video is probably gonna be super long, but hopefully you guys are just enjoying, I was gonna say chatting with me, but I'm the one chatting. But hopefully you're just enjoying me kind of walking through all these projects that I'm in love with and all the stuff that I like to do. So I came home from this river trip, and I was trying to think what it was that really pushed me over the edge. Oh, okay. So I'm on this river trip, and I did not feel great. I was on antibiotics before I left, and I should not have gone on this trip. I love this trip. It was so beautiful in so many ways, but I was struggling with my health the entire time. I had an infection where I was taking antibiotics, and on the antibiotics it says, do not get in the sun. I'm in the sun all day long. It's 100 degrees. It's so hot. It like at night, it's like 95 degrees. It's like, it's not cooling off. I'm in the sun, and I'm just not feeling well, right? I'm taking these medication. There was a doctor there, a podiatrist, and I'd asked him, he's like, listen, when you're on antibiotics, it takes a huge toll on your body. So he's like, this is why you're not feeling great. So I was not doing well. And at some point during the trip, and I don't know if this was anxiety or not, because the one thing about being on this river trip, it was the Grand Canyon. It's very hard to be able to get into. You have to do like a lottery to get into this trip. So it's very hard to do, which is why I really wanted to do it. There's no way out. if you want to get off this river, like you are helicoptering out. In fact, we did helicopter at the very end. But if you have an injury or something like that, they will helicopter you out. So there was a part of me that had some anxiety about like, there's no way off this raft unless I helicopter out. So I felt a little bit of like, oh my gosh, what if something happens, right? So I started having this pain. No, it wasn't pain. It was like numbness in my arm. And I didn't know if I was creating it in my head. I don't know if it was anxiety ridden, but I did have a lot of anxiety on that trip because of how I was feeling. I came home, I wasn't feeling better, and my doctor was not available. Like he was out of the office for the entire month. So I did end up going to see another doctor at this same clinic. But in the meantime, before I could get in to see a doctor, I was just really struggling with this arm and it feeling numb. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not just going to sit here and feel my arm being numb. Like I have to move my arm like constantly. So that's when I started picking up my crochet hooks, and I made this really cute heart pillow, and I am going to have a picture somewhere and share that with you guys. I made this really cute heart pillow for Megan. It had this really big chunky yarn, and so it did not take me long at all. And I love how it turned out. And then I was like, oh, I want to make this what was it, a bag. And so I started making a bag, and I was actually thinking about that. I don't know where that bag is because I didn't finish. I just was working on the base. It looks really good though. And I got the pattern on Etsy. I'll have to maybe show you. I'll find it somewhere in like, I have this project basket. It's probably in my project basket, but I will find it, and maybe in my next like craft tube, I will show you my progress on that, because I haven't picked it up yet because I started working on like cross stitch and then knitting. But that was the first thing that I started doing. Was when I got back from that trip in September, I started I started crocheting. And then when I found Stitch MD, then I was like, I need to do a knitting project. So then I started to knit again. And that's when I picked this up. So it actually went a lot faster than I thought it would be. I thought it would take a lot more time. But you know what? I did like a couple hours every night. You know, you're sitting in front of the TV, you're watching something. Adam and I have been rewatching Seinfeld. And of course, since it's a rewatch and it's something that I don't feel like I need to like look at this screen constantly, that this is really great for. It's really great to like cross stitch or knit. Although with knitting, I feel like I can kind of knit and don't have to look down the entire time. So anyway, that was a long way of saying this is where I am with my knitting, and I'm excited to start the sleeves and get that done. So I'm going to wear this on screen when I am finished with it. So I'm really excited about it. And I do love this sandbank color. I think it's really, really great. Obviously I love brown. I did get this sweater from a very, very good friend of mine for Christmas. So, okay. What else did I want to share with you guys today? I feel like I kind of did write a couple of things like that I want to work on, but now I can't remember. Let's see. Oh, so other things would probably just be like organization. So I've got this new craft space. I know that a lot of people have asked me about sharing, and I really regret not sharing what my room looked like in Washington, and also in the house that we lived before. The reason why I didn't is because it was set up very differently. It was literally like I took a basket, put it in a box, sealed it, and then I took it out and then put it back. I felt like everything kind of looked the same. And so I was like, why do they just want to watch the same video just set up in a different place? So I will definitely do in 2023, I will definitely do a studio tour and show you some of the ways that I am organizing some things. I know that I had showed a little bit of like my DMC floss. Like I will show how I organize that. I'm trying to think of some of the other things I want to do. I've got a lot of little dies that I have dies that are associated with stamps, and I have those organized in one way, but I have a whole bunch of dies that are like thank you and Merry Christmas and happy birthday that I kind of want to be together. And I saw someone do like these really big sheets of metal, of magnet, and have them in a binder. So that's what I want to do. So that's definitely what I'm going to do coming up here really soon. I will show you how I'm organizing all my dies. So just throughout the year, as I work on something, I will share it, because the one thing that I'm realizing in my space is there are times I feel like I'm kind of suffocating a little bit and I need some breathing room. Like I said at the beginning, there's a lot of things that I like to make. Like I used to make books and I sold books on Etsy. This was probably back in 09 and 2010, that I was making like, I would sew together the paper, right? You're making the books, and I've got all the supplies for that. And then I've got knitting supplies, and I've got supplies for card making, and I've got all the scrapbooking supplies and all the stamps and all the inks. And I mean, I feel like I've got all the things, you know what I mean? Not all the things, but I have a lot of different things for a lot of different types of crafting. You know, you've got the Cricut, you've got the vinyl, all that stuff. So I feel like I was kind of drowning. The space isn't huge. It's not small. I'm really grateful for it. But there's just a lot of different ways that I want to be able to maximize my space a little bit better. And so I want to share that with you guys as I work on it throughout the year. That's going to be a big project for me in 2023, is kind of letting go of the things that I don't need anymore, and really letting the things that I want to continue with in 2023 to shine. All right, you guys, so I've shared a lot about what I'm working on right now, what I want to continue for 2023, and kind of my hope for this channel. So like I had said earlier, I know there's a lot of you that are probably here for paper crafting or for memory keeping. And I hope that you will be willing to stay for some of the other things, because I really want to explore my creativity and just share the things that I'm doing that aren't necessarily in camera. One of the things that I haven't talked about yet that I've really been loving is baking. So last year I was like, this is the year, or excuse me, this year, because we're technically still in 2022. I'm like, this is the year of the pie. I have never really made pies because I feel like the pie crust never worked out. They were never good. And so I was like, I'm going to master the pie this year. And so I got a book by, and I will put it on the screen because it's blanking me. Like my mind is gone, right? So I will put it on the screen, and I grabbed her book and I started making her recipe for pie. She has a YouTube channel where she would show you some of her tips and tricks. I mastered pie crust. Now, am I like amazing at it? No, but like I did a really good job at feeling really good at my pie crust. And one of my favorite things that I made this year that my family has loved is a pot pie. And that's not traditionally been like a favorite food of mine, but like it's really good. So that's something that I've really loved. So in 2023, one of the things that I want to focus on, I did the pie crust, and this year I really want to focus on laminating, which is pastry, which is croissants, which is, you know, taking the dough and folding it in with butter on top of one another. That's the process of laminating and making some of those pastries. So I'm actually going to be taking a class, I think it's towards the end of January, at a bakery. I'm really excited to dive in and explore this world of laminating dough and pastry and stuff like that. So I don't know. I've just really loved baking, making cookies. One of my favorite websites is Sally Baking Addiction. Every recipe that I've made from her is a top 10, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, whatever you would say. Everyone that has ever asked me for a recipe, I feel like it's because it's come from her. So I will continue to make some of those recipes and just have a lot of fun baking. Is that something you guys want to see? I don't really know. I know that it's a little bit harder to like start moving equipment into the kitchen. And I did, you know, I made these rolls. Gosh, I feel really bad that I can't think of her name right now. But anyway, I bought her other book that had savory doughs and pastries, and she had this roll recipe, and I made it, and I actually filmed a lot of it, and then I just never put it on YouTube. I think I filmed it for like a reel, and I never actually ended up doing anything with it, which is very unfortunate. Like, I actually have a lot of footage that I record and that I never do anything with. Like, I think I recorded myself making all the pastries for the pie. I'm gonna make sure I'm still recording. Okay, I'm still recording. I was like, what if I stopped recording? But anyway, I was making a whole bunch of pies for Thanksgiving, and I was recording myself making those pies, but I didn't do anything with it. You know what I mean? So I would like to take you guys on a few journeys like that. If if you would be interested in seeing some stuff in my kitchen. I'm not 100% sure. I actually went with a friend and we made wreaths. I've got this really fun wreath on my door. I think I'm going to leave it. It's not overly Christmassy, so I think I'm going to leave it for Valentine's. Maybe I'll change up the ribbon and do something with hearts or something like that. I'll have to show a picture of that. But me and my friend went and we made these wreaths. I also did some video of that I never shared. I'll need to share that on my YouTube, because I think I was intending to do that for a reel. So anyway, you guys, there's just a lot of stuff that I do that I'm so inspired by, that I want to try, that I just want to dive in and do. And sometimes I just want to do it for myself and I don't want to have to record it and then take a picture and then do all this stuff. But I think it would be really fun to be able to share those things with you, because I am wanting to build this channel more. I am wanting to reach more people. I've been trying to figure this out, because I don't remember if I said this earlier on in the video, but I became an empty nester in 2022 in the fall. Like, my life changed a lot, right? So it's slowed down some, and in many other ways it's picked up. And as someone who has been a stay-at-home mom, that has, my job has been motherhood, I've really been trying to think, like, do I just go get a full-time job, or do I try and really push this YouTube channel and making it and building it so that I can, make some income from it, so that I don't need to go get a full-time job or even a part-time job. So I may still do that. But I do sort of feel like I'm holding out for maybe the perfect thing. I would love to, I don't know. I would love to work with a small business. I would love to work with a small business that does creating, but I don't know that, sometimes those are few and far between. But right now I'm just really enjoying doing this, and the idea of being able to share, like, creatively, like, what I love. So hopefully you guys are here for it and totally into me, like, just sharing all the things that I love. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. I think I've shared all the things that I want to share. If you have any questions, please leave them down below and I will definitely answer them for you. And like I said, if there is anything you guys would like to see from me, if there's like a craft or a tool, there's so many different tools out there that I would love to invest in, but they are a big investment. So some, like, oh my gosh, I would love to get a glow forge. It's probably not something that I will do, because I don't feel like I can really justify it. It's not like I want to make stuff and sell it, but there are things out there that are, have a lower price point that I would love to try, if it's something that you guys would love to see, or if there's just something that you guys would love to see me make in general. Like I said, let's learn it together. Like, let's have fun trying to figure it out, because that's really what I love to do. I love to get like a new game, read the instructions and figure it out. And I'm the same in the crafting world. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining me today, and happy 2023, and we will see you next time.